Today's collectible spot, we are having a look at the Hot Toys Iron Man Mark VII 1/6 scale collectible figure. Coming to us from the Marvel Avengers line, the Mark VII was a piece that I definitely wanted to pick up. The front of the box features a really nice image of the Mark VII. Generally by nature, I'm usually one that prefers boxes that just have a logo or something to it. I'm not really one that enjoys a face on the front of the box, but I think in the case of the Iron Man here, it works extremely well. I also really like the fact that the box is comprised of like individual indications. It's almost very similar to what you would expect with like the old comic strips, where it's comprised of dots and little pixels and whatnot. But a nice red box as well. Featured on the top of the box, it's Iron Man Mark VII, and we spin around the side of the box. Again, this really nice color of red here. It's almost like a burgundy red. And on the back, just warning hazards. This is an adult collectible. It's not a toy. It's not recommended for ages 15 and below. It's recommended for ages 15 and up. This comes to us from the good folks over at Hot Toys. And also, this is, by the way, MMS 185, the Mark VII. This particular box actually has a sleeve, so we're just going to take the box and slide it up like so. And on the inside of the box, you can see that it has the main Iron Man Mark VII. Comes with some alternate hands, the alternate Tony Stark head, and certainly behind that there's a lot more going on as well. What I am going to do is take a break. I'm going to get this opened up, and when we come back, we're going to get a better look at the Hot Toys Avengers Iron Man Mark VII. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. With the Mark 42, you'll get yourself an instruction guide showing you how to change out parts and how to operate and work the batteries on Iron Man. You also get yourself a display stand featuring the Avengers on the top and the Mark VII on the front here. Would work fine because you probably would have several different Mark suits, but it would have been nice also that if that had just said Iron Man on the front there. You also get yourself a whole slew of different accessories, all of which we'll have a look at in a second. But before we do that, let's have a look at the Mark VII first. I'm just going to move the accessories out of the way and just bring the camera up slightly. The Mark VII is done very nicely in this, I want to say it's almost like a cranberry red. Cranberry red, and you've got this gold accents, obviously on the faceplate, the sides of the arms, little sides around the arc reactor, and of course in the leg area as well. He is just an absolute gorgeous piece though. I'm actually very surprised. I really shouldn't say I'm surprised, but I'm more shocked by how impressive he looks in hand than what I initially thought when I got him in box and I was looking at him in box. He has wowed me for the level of detailing, the level of color that they put in the suit itself. Spot has not actually picked up any other of the Mark suits. I would really like to go back and pick up some of the other suits, but I think for me the Mark VII really represents a lot of the Iron Man suits in one look. I would say if you're starting, like myself, if you're starting an Iron Man suit collection with the Hot Toys, I think really the Mark VII is a good, well-rounded way to start your collection. Now the Iron Man does light up on top of the fact of him just looking impressive. He has a light up in the middle of the chest area here. He has light ups on the hands and also in the head. To operate the head light up, what you're actually just going to do is you're going to take the faceplate off like so. And there is actually a switch right at the very top here. Let's bring the camera in here. All the sections that have all the sections that light up have battery compartments. The battery compartment is right here if you want to change out the batteries on the face. But you're just going to take this switch and light it up, and you can see it actually really promotes, or really projects a bright light. Put the faceplate back on, and you've got Iron Man with the lit up eyes. A really nice touch indeed. The same thing can be said for the chest. This chest section here also lights up. Now for this, you're actually going to take the back flap panels, and you're just going to flip them up. You really only need to flip this one up here, but I'll show you the battery compartment is featured right here if you want to change out the batteries. To operate this, you're going to take this panel, you flip it up, and then you're going to flip that switch down. And that will light up the Iron Man chest as well. And in fact, to give you a better look, let's hit the lights and you can see it fully lit up. You can really see how impressive, and not only really how impressive, but how bright those lights project in the eyes and in the chest. Now he does also light up in the hands section. I'll show you that in a second. But you got to admit though, that's a pretty bright light indeed. Aside from the head that is already included, which again really has these incredible details in the head itself, you can interchange the faceplate. Once again, you're going to go in and just pull off the faceplate. It actually has only a singular magnet right at the very top here. If you can see it right there. You can take that faceplate off, and he does also come with a damaged faceplate. And really by damaged, it's not super damaged. Let's just get Iron Man to stand properly here. It's not a completely damaged faceplate. In fact, the regular faceplate is really only just scratched up a little bit at the top there. So you can take that, pop it into place like so, and you've got Iron Man with a little bit more of a damaged look to it. I kind of even like the fact that it's got that slight bit of damage. It looks like it doesn't, like the suit didn't just come off the shelf, so to speak, or out of the plant. It looks like he has had a little bit of use time where he's actually gone out and worn the suit for a bit. It kind of just gives it a more realistic look, I think. So I'd probably be more inclined to have him with this plate, and the other faceplate I probably would just keep off. But I like the fact that you have options, and that's one thing that Hot Toys are always doing. They're giving you lots of options for the way that you can display your Iron Man. Speaking of displaying, and really speaking of damage, he does also have several other damaged pieces. The main chest piece here you can remove. It takes just a bit of finagling, and luckily you also get yourself a little remove tool that you can take it and just you can peg out or unhinge the little clips that attach this whole chest piece out. And this chest piece comes out to reveal the inner workings of the suit. Included, as Spotted already mentioned, he does include a damaged torso piece, damaged chest piece that you can clip into place as well. And while I do like the fact that he's damaged here, I will not likely display him with this. I think it's almost a little too much. But if you're, depending on how you're posing him, if you're posing him right after battle, this would be an ideal piece to go with. Oh no, it doesn't end right there, my friends, because actually his whole entire arms can also be replaced with damaged arms as well. You're just going to take the arm section, just wiggle it a slight bit, and you can pop it right out. It's actually a very forgiving ball joint. You can peg that out completely. And before Tony worries that he has no arm, let's take his damaged arm and peg that into place, like so. There we go. And you've got him with a damaged look. And again, really, as much as I said for the plate, you could kind of keep this slight bit of damage on his arm, change this out to have the more newer looking chest piece, and it just has that little bit of wear. Now, in comparison to the regular arm that did not have the missile, this actually has the additional arm cannon here, the little hand cannon there. Really, again, a nice touch. Now, you'll notice, obviously, he's got no hands. Luckily, Hot Toys does include lots of hands. You get yourself 6 hands in total, 3 pairs of alternate hands. You get the more open hand, which has the option to light up, a little light up repulsor blast there. You get yourself, obviously, the closed fist that we've already looked at on the hands that he has already displayed with. And then he also has these. he has actually hands with posable fingers. You could take the fingers and each digit is adjustable. It is not to say, really, that I would be even inclined to keep these hands on him. So if I don't really know which hands I want to display him with, I have these, and I can really mimic a lot of the functions that the other hands served, whether it be somewhat closed hands to completely open hands. It's really a nice touch. Really a nice touch indeed. Now you can take those hands. Let's say we take the obviously the hand that corresponds with this arm. We can just take it and peg it into place. Actually, what we want to do first is we'll take the regular hand for now, because we'll show you guys something in a second here. You're going to take the regular hand. There we go. This one right here. Take the regular hand and we'll just peg it into place. Just like so. Whoops. Peg it into place. Actually, with this particular arm, the way it's set up, really, you're going to be housing it, you're going to be displaying it more so with the fists. However, what you could also do, I'm going to take the fist off, unpeg the shoulder socket, take that arm off completely, and let's revisit the original arm that was included with Iron Man. Going to peg that into place. Now, once again, he is without hand. However, what you can do is just take this piece off like so. And Iron Man does also include these pieces here. Now, by comparison, you'll see that one piece sits flush, sits flat. The other one bends up. You're going to want to use this hand, or this plate, this hand plate, slide it back in onto his arm, just like so. And then you can take the posable hands, making sure thumbsies go in, and you're just going to peg that into place like so. Now the beauty of this is you can have those hands as the repulsor blast. There's a little switch right on the inside, you see it right there on the inside bicep. Switch that on, and it cascades a really nice bright effect. Now this is only using the flat palms. Luckily though, you can also use these palms too, which is more posed up, to say the least. Just take that, unpeg these. Once again, you'll see probably Spot unpegging things a lot in this particular video, because there are so many things that come with this suit. Going to peg this into place, just like so. And now you've got the true repulsor blast hands. And again, it really projects a bright light. You can also you can also take this piece off here, unpeg it like so, and you can take this piece right here, which is the missile, peg that into his hand, which, you know, I'm probably going to be inclined to keep permanently on his hand, because I just like the fact that he's got these extra missiles, extra guns and stuff all over his body that he can retract and use. And while I wouldn't necessarily use it with the repulsor hands, I do like the fact that you can swap even the individual panels out and add some extra firepower. Extra firepower, you say? You can also take off the top shoulder sections. Just move this arm out of the way here. Take the top shoulder panels off. This arm we just have to move slightly. You're going to take this panel off, like so. Fairly easy to take off. And you can also swap those out. I sound like I'm a car salesman, but that's not all. You can also swap these out and put in missile shoulder pads. Missile shoulder pads. Ridiculous. Possibly? No, it's really not. Peg those into place like so. And now you've got Tony Stark with shoulder missiles. The back flaps still work the same way. These flip up. So if, for example, you have Tony Stark in flight mode, you can have these flipped up like so, kind of give the impression that he's using these flaps during some sort of flight mode. Because also down below, here we go, down below, he's also got a flap in his leg that retracts out just a little bit. They're just more or less like stoppers, little stopper panels. And then on top of that, these little back pieces here, right above right, I guess above the calf area here. These also flip up as well, showing you some really neat circuitry in the lower legs of Tony Stark. Flip these down. They can sit flush against the legs. And we're going to fold these down as well. Also, these pop up too, the little side pieces. Now, to say, on top of that, that is not enough, there's also these little thigh piece plates that you can take out. So if you don't want them in the silver, you can also switch them out for the gold. Let's make sure we got the right pieces on there. Put that on, and you can have it more in the gold lower leg. I'm not really sure which one I prefer. I mean, the silver actually works, in my opinion, a little bit better. So I would probably stick with the gold, or stick with the silver. But the options there to, again, mix and match what you want to put on Tony Stark, all the way down to having missiles on his legs. And again, we just line these up, make sure we got the right sides here. Line these up, and again, some added firepower via these little side missile compartments. Now, you would probably wonder to yourself, well, does he have any alternate heads? Well, he does have his alternate Tony Stark head, which I think this might be my only gripe with this piece, is probably this head here. It's not a bad head, but I find like the coloring on the face works, but I find that like the hair and the facial hair seem a little too faded for my liking. I feel like as if this should have been a little bit darker in coloring. To change out Tony Stark's head, I'm just going to take the head of Iron Man, just again wiggle it slightly, and it comes out extremely easy. You're going to take this extra collar piece that comes with Iron Man, slide that into place, and then put in Tony Stark's head. Now this goes the same with Batman, this goes the same really with a lot of the Hot Toys pieces where you always get an alternate head. While I do appreciate that he does come with an alternate head, for me, I would go with Iron Man, personally. That's just a matter of my preference. I would go with the Iron Man head versus the Tony Stark head. But we'll zoom in so you guys can get a better look at it. Once again, options are definitely all there when it comes to Hot Toys pieces. So in the way of the articulation that is on the Mark VII, he has as much articulation and as impressive of a list of articulation as he does with his accessories. For starters, let's move the camera up here and just bring the camera in. His head, while it does rotate left and right on a very nice ball joint, the one thing that the Mark VII excels in too is that the head will adjust up as well. So you can get some really nice flying poses with your Iron Man, depending on how you have him displayed on your shelf. That, on top of the fact that the neck itself has its own ball joint, you're really getting 2 times the level of articulation that you would normally if the figure was just on a standard ball joint. So that I like quite a bit. His arms are also on a nice ball joint. I also like the fact that the way they've built the shoulder, you can see as you move the arm up, the shoulder pad raises and stays out of the way of these side pieces of armor here. That is a really, really nice touch. Again, his arms go forward, back, out. He has a rotation in the bicep, really not hindered at all by this shoulder pad piece here. He does have a double bend in the elbow. Of course, he has the rotation in the hand and a bend in the hand, and of course, that will depend on how which hand you've got in place. You've got the other articulation in the fingers as well. The torso itself does rotate left and right, not too much left and right. However, you can take the torso section here and just separate it slightly, and that will allow you to crunch the figure forward and crunch the figure backward, just to kind of give you some added bit of adjustments. What I really like about this is that depending on how you have the figure posed, you can have him hunched forward and just kind of have him ready to fire his repulsor blast. That is a nice touch. I really like that. And then depending on if you're not using it, you just click that back into place. He has what appears to be no swivel in the waist or anything like that, but his legs do go out, do go forward and back, slightly hindered, of course, by the actual lower mid-torso section of the waist here. But you can move it slightly forward, slightly out. He has a rotation slightly in the thigh. He has a really nice bend, double bend in the knee, which would also really add to that flying or hovering effect if you have, depending on the stand available for it. And then, of course, his foot does swivel left and right, up and down. Just overall, I really am impressed with this particular piece. And really, it goes to say that, once again, if you're not collecting a lot of these Iron Man pieces, and now you're starting into the game, which, again, Spot can totally see where you're coming from, if you're not quite certain where to start your Iron Man collection. So, of course, you can always go back and you can start looking at the Mark 1, the Mark II, the earlier wave. Of course, those figures tend to get a little more expensive as well. But if you're all looking for a good, well-rounded, if you're really just looking to get one Iron Man, just one Iron Man that personifies the character and the overall suit, though he's changed throughout the courses of the movies, and with the Avengers, he's had a couple of different suits. For me, the Mark VII really captures all the essence of Iron Man into one suit. The articulation is fantastic, the sculpt is impressive as always, and really with the accessories, you can customize this Iron Man to anything your heart's content. If you were really to get one Iron Man, I really think this is the one that you would want to go with. Today's collectible spot, this one was a little longer, I apologize for that, but certainly I could not, you have to do something like this justice. Today we were having a look at the Hot Toys Avengers, the Iron Man Mark 7 1/6 scale collectible figure. And certainly stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more collectible spots and other Hot Toys coming your way as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.